Loneliest of all, perhaps, for the Baker children. They would want to tell their story to friends at school. But who would believe them?
Well, Monty, my oldest boy, he was all upset. He says, told my other two boys, now don't say anything. Don't say anything to kids at school. We don't want nothing of this to get out. And, of course, Janie was in tears. She says, well, I know what I saw. She says, you trying to tell me I'm crazy or something? She said, I know what we saw. She says, don't try to tell me I didn't see anything, because she said, I know I saw it. And she was in tears and everything else that night. And, of course, the undersheriff, I apologized when he left me off here, because I thought, well, no, we didn't find anything. He'll think I'm a little off, too. And he said, no, don't forget, just forget about it. I said, well, I said, okay, let's forget about it. And I said, but don't tell anybody then. Matter of fact, I even mentioned that. I said, don't tell anybody. I said, just forget it then. Because I said, let's drop the whole story.
Mellon has a newspaper, the Weekly Record. Editor Jasper Landry knows just about everybody in Mellon by first name.
I've known Mr. Baker for about 30 years, and he and his family have been here a long time. And when this story broke on the UFOs, he asked me not to put it in the paper because of the anxiety his family was being put through by callers and curiosity seekers. And so I thought that I wouldn't. And he was very appreciative. I honored his wish to not have it printed.
The story got around anyway, of this country lane where the Baker family saw something big and metallic with red and green lights. Something that was gone almost as soon as it came.
My name is George Ree, Mellon, Wisconsin. I am the undersheriff of Ashland County. On this night in question, I answered a complaint of Philip Baker, and I arrived at the site and I investigated it, and I firmly believe that the Baker family did see an object.
Sheriff Ree had good reason to believe Baker's story. He may have arrived at the Baker house too late to see anything there. But when he left, a second call came to investigate reported lights in the sky. Ree and 7 deputies from 2 counties raced across country roads. Sheriff Ree would sight a bright object darting in the sky, call on his radio for another car to intercept it, and the object would dart away, sometimes to briefly join another hovering in the sky. One of Ree's deputies said the light given off by the objects was so intense he could read a newspaper by it. And when it passed over another patrol car, the police radio went dead. To this moment, no one knows what it was that George Ree and 7 county policemen chased that night in Wisconsin. Big Chimney, West Virginia. It has been suggested that the overwhelming percentage of UFO sightings occur in small towns and rural farmlands for good reasons. The view is less obstructed, for one thing. The residents are more likely to be looking up at the sky, more sensitive to the changing lights above.
It's about 9:30 in the night. We were driving north on 119 towards Clendenin, and my wife saw some intensely bright lights in the sky, and she commented that this was the brightest airplane lights that she'd ever seen. I looked up, and there's this big diamond-shaped object with big flat ends set right above the treetops.
Carol Critchfield pursued his UFO to the spot where he saw it set down and found marks that could have been made by landing gear. Critchfield is a foreman in a Big Chimney chemical plant. He's not the sort of man who is often called on to take lie detector tests, but he knows how incredible his story must sound.
I'm Ian Criswell from the Criswell Security Agency in Wheeling, West Virginia. Myself and a team of investigative specialists conducted extensive polygraph testing of Mr. Critchfield.
The lie detector, or polygraph, is a sensitive device for recording changes in body temperature, rate of breathing, electrical impulses in the skin, and heartbeat. Preliminary tests established normal parameters, which, if exceeded during the actual test, indicate deception.
This is the blood pressure pattern, this is a skin sensitivity pattern, and this is a breathing pattern.
A lie detector test cannot prove whether or not Critchfield saw a UFO. It can only indicate whether he believes he is telling the truth.
Is your last name Critchfield?
Yes.
Do you intend to answer all of my questions truthfully?
Yes.
Are you being completely truthful to the best of your belief concerning the object which you described and saw in the written statement describing the events of June 12, 1975?
Yes.
Are you being truthful when you say that in the first 35 years of your life you have never lied to a police officer?
Yes.
Are you being completely truthful when you say that you have no knowledge of how the burn spots and other evidence were created other than by the object described in your written statement?
Yes.
The test is now over. On the first question here concerning Mr. Critchfield's name, there was no reaction in any of the tracings. And the second question concerning the, does he plan to answer all questions truthfully? Again, there were no reactions indicating deception. And question number 3 concerning the object that Mr. Critchfield described in a written statement previous to this examination, there were no reactions significant of deception. On the question concerning the burn spots and the other evidence left by the object, there were no reactions indicative of deception. And it is our opinion that Mr. Critchfield has told the complete truth about all statements concerning the object he cited on June 12, 1975.
It would be unusual indeed if a man not noted for vivid imagination and guile could invent a story about a UFO and then control half a dozen involuntary body functions in such a way as to fool a sophisticated machine and experienced technicians. Much easier to believe that something extraordinary happened on a hilltop in Big Chimney, West Virginia. Something that touched Carol Critchfield's life and left him wondering.
The pocket transit also can be used.
Some men, like Ted Phillips, are dedicated to finding answers for the growing number of perplexed people who have had UFO experiences. Phillips is an amateur scientist and UFO investigator.
Neat little pocket penetrometer.
Phillips has taken soil samples at dozens of reported UFO landing sites. He and his fellow investigators have amassed reports of no less than 60,000 UFO sightings in the past 30 years. Many of these were fairly easy to explain. Conventional aircraft, weather balloons, flocks of geese. But more than 900 cases remain unexplained. Phillips has an important ally in his search, the University of Kansas Aerospace Science Laboratory. It is the place he sends soil samples for analysis. Dr. Edward Zeller is the man in charge. Zeller believes it would be unscientific to ignore UFO reports and that the techniques of hard scientific analysis can be put to work finding answers. Medford, Minnesota. Medford provided Dr. Zeller with a test sample